Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Brian Jennings. This is my channel, which exists for a myriad of reasons. Primarily it exists to discuss the nature of my relationship with Quentin Tarantino and the movie Critic, which I've said 1,000 times to every fucking journalistic body that exists, right? That I am the reason Quentin canceled the film, right? Everything that he says is a lie, right? He's not being honest with himself, with his family, with his colleagues, with the press. He has no honesty. He has nothing but cunning and guile. And so, I suppose I've been kind of depressed these last few days. Haven't really eaten anything in like 2 days. I have like 15 pounds that I gained from his hideous siege against me. It's exhausting to go all the way through. Like, yes, I'm insane and he's evil. Like, these are the two positions. Right? It's fine. You could say I'm insane. It's fine. I say that's a lazy answer intellectually. Right? Clear steps in logic to proving me delusional. But who am I to tell someone else how to think? But in any event, I find myself torn in a big way because Quentin wants me to sue him. He's wanted that for a long time now. I've never understood why. I still don't understand why. Some sort of public display of contrition. Oh, I'm gonna say the things that I say on this channel to a fucking court stenographer, to court TV. Right? And make no mistake, right? If it gets in front of a judge, I'm going off. I'm talking cash shit that whole time. Making jokes about Quentin sucking feet as his security blanket, all of it. Right? This man ain't got nothing nice to say about me. Right? He's a weird, fucked up guy who likes to play fucked up mind games. I'm on the business end of it. Why do you think Hollywood's in his pocket? Why do you think no one's written a critical stance on Quentin Tarantino from the establishment? Right, since Stephen King's review of Kill Bill. Right? Why do you think that is? Right? Could it be because he tortures the people who run those institutions with the same power he tortures me with? I wonder. Pretty fucking evil, you ask me. Right? And again, right, it solves nothing. It in no way solves his facility to be evil, right? That stops nothing. Nor does it stop my ability. Right? What? Oh, money? Money solves our problems? No. Reconciliation, that's it. Money solves nothing. NDAs solve nothing. Do you think that piece of paper means anything to me? So, I'm torn. I know that we have to resolve it, that it can't exist like this forever, but I'm tired of giving him what he wants. I'm tired of not talking about it. Of saying, oh gosh, oh Quentin, oh no, I upset Quentin Tarantino. Oh, when. Right? He's not cool. Right? You don't set up a whole panel with someone and expect your psychic mind power to be enough. Like, that's the pinnacle of hubris. Right? Yep, sure. Right? Could have been an instant movie star. Yep. Right? And he could have been a good person. But instead, he wanted to be a goblin. And so, right? I aborted. He turns his back, I turn mine. Right? To say, oh, you trust the voice in your head. That's, right? That's a pathological, ugly position. right? Which harkens to mental illness. The man is not well in his mind. Will I sue? Will I not sue? Doesn't matter. I'm going to talk about it, promote my videos. Right? There's no hope for us if we don't reconcile. None whatsoever. He's going to live as a weird goblin in my mind, and I'm going to live as a weird goblin in his mind. Right? It's a case study in remote viewing. I can't stress that enough. Right? Like, what does he tell people? What about that article that came out in Collider last year about him explaining the movie Critic? What happened to that article? Oh, he didn't actually say anything to me, so he had them take it down. Because he made claims that aren't true. Didn't he? He has the right to play psychic mind games. That's fine. I don't fault him for that. I have the right to opt out. That's my right. Right? When he says things like, I didn't think that a movie about a writer could be interesting, right? Like that's him saying fuck you to me. Saying you're not interesting. Right? He says he's self-deprecating, but he's just insulting me. That's like what's actually occurring. And as far as The Guardian, right? Publishing about his West End debut, right? If there is a real play, and there's not, that's another fuck you to me. I'm a theatrical actor. Right? He's going to mock me relentlessly. That's what it's actually going to be. It's going to be about a filmmaker or a writer who has a fan who writes them, right? And he degrades what's occurring here into him just being evil, him just being a bully by saying that I'm some sort of crazed fan. Right? All he had to do was take my letter. All he had to do was not turn it into a fucked up mind game. Right? It's fine. It's fine. Right? Like, you just release your movie, right? He's made the movie. There's no David Fincher. He's going to color grade it. He's going to make it darker to where it doesn't look, right? But it's not David Fincher. It's him. Right? And again, right? It was all in response to me writing aemanuel, writing those savage 22 minutes of monologues where I alleged his wife eats his ass and he thinks of me. Solid fucking gold. Right? I don't want to die. I did this backwards, but that's okay. Right? All that's left is vulgar evil. I can make jokes about it, like he makes jokes about me. Pretty funny. Oh, this guy trusts me. He told me all his secrets. Ha 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 ha. But if we don't reconcile, we'll both just be psychic phantoms in the other's mind forever. Not for... You know? What does his wife have to say about it? This is what you want. This is what you want to think about every time you look at your daughter? Right? Again, it's none of my business. So, all I can do is talk about it. Maybe I'll sue, maybe I won't. Right? I said it before and I'll say it again. Is it really so hard to believe that Quentin Tarantino understands what remote viewing is? Is that really so hard to believe? Right? I don't think so. I'm living proof. Right? And so everything that he did was to get me to blow my brains out. Really, really sinister, dark evil. Right? That I only came out the other side of intact because I know what time it is. Right? And the thought of them going, hooting and hollering over my obituary should be enough to send a shiver down everyone's spine who watches this. Right? Why did he come clean? Maybe that's... Right? I'm saying all these things. Right? At the first of the year, after tormenting me for months on end about this bullshit daughter, I started remote viewing in a palpable way. That witch that he said was his daughter, her name's Allison. I suspect she doesn't know who he is. A. Tarantino, first bitch who pops up. And so, rather than just let me destroy her, which he could have done, well, who cares? It's funny. Right? He poisoned my mind with a bunch of bullshit about her being a hooker who fucks men for money. Right? And so, I poisoned her mind with notions of AIDS. Right? Which is to say, I poisoned their minds. That's why he was fucking with me. Right? Because everything that I did went straight to them. Right? Because they've engendered this condition in their minds. I didn't do all that to give her AIDS. Right? Like, he's taken steps, him and the degenerates that all support him and call him master, have taken steps to actually try to give me AIDS. Really, really just awful, awful evil. The highest evil anyone can practice, right? And every time they come all over a cross, they think of me now forever, right? So after about 4 days of just burying him in it, right? Right? A depth of comprehension that they understand very little to nothing about. He admitted he has no daughter, that it's all bullshit. That's why, right? That's why he came clean. Because I turned the mirror and said, oh, how about this, how about this, how about this, how about this, how about this? All day, every day. And it got exhausting, I'm sure. To just endure that. To just like constantly be on guard. And so, after that occurred, after he said, oh no, it's all bullshit, ha 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 ha, tee hee hee hee, we're so funny, we're so bad. Then I realized, like, oh, okay, I see. You want me to kill myself. You want me to die. That's all you want. And what do I mean when I say that? I mean that no one spends as much time as Quentin and the people around him have watching me binding our souls and minds together. Never expecting to spend any real time or make any real memories with me, and expect that to persist for 20 years, the last 20 years of his life, no less. Therefore, right, they expected to do some ritualistic chant after I blew my brains out and then moved on. That's the point. Said, oh God, I'm finally free of him. Oh, yes, I got the scene for free. Right? This is the sickest, basest, most degenerate evil anyone could practice. There is no, right, short of genocide, short of, right, ritual, occult sacrifice, right? Like they could go farther, and so could I. As far as just burying me in it, all day, every day, right? I don't know if he thinks about it, but eventually I would just start doing the same thing. Maybe it does nothing. I suspect it does everything. So, do the people around him tell him to leave me be? I don't rightfully know. I don't rightfully know. I suspect he lies to all of them. I suspect he looks them all in the eye and says, oh gosh, me no know, I don't, me no say, Right? They all know the type of shit he's into. They all know. Maybe they've never heard it expressed so explicitly, so vulgarly. Right? But this is the real world. No psychic bullshit. Right? Now we're playing the magic game. Now we're playing the psychic mind game. Right? He knows just fine exactly what I'm talking about. Everything that he does is towards that end. That Aleister Crowley base degeneracy of thought. That's the type of shit that he's into. Me, expressions of will. Right? Identity through power. And so, right, his clairvoyance wasn't enough for me. And it still isn't. He can be evil. This is why I'm talking about it. I can't, right? Like, there's nothing I can do. Like, oh, I got the memo. You're a famous guy who puts really disgusting, violent things, violent tableaus in your films. Therefore, right? I would have never not given him what he wanted if I understood that he is actually evil. And he, like in his mind, he's like, oh no, I would have never done these things if you gave me what I wanted. But that's not an answer, is it? That's simply admitting that you're addicted to power. Right? This has nothing to do with a movie. This has nothing at all to do with a movie. If this had something to do with a fucking movie, he would have paid me a year ago. Right? This is about power. This is about control. So, he wanted to control my mind. Now we both control each other's minds. Right? Real world. Consciousness is a field which pervades all of space. And if you're still in your mind, you can find people, locales. Right? And the more that you understand, the easier it is to find these places. I've dedicated my life to understanding geometry, the fabric of space-time. Therefore, my clairvoyance is exceptionally acute, because the forms which I have embedded within my psyche constitute the hologram of space. That's the point. I wrote him about being a movie star. Not like this. No. I should have never gone. I didn't want to go. It seemed stalkerish. I wanted him to say something to me. He set the whole fucking thing up for me. That's like, and it took me a while to realize that. I can't imagine. Like setting that up and saying, oh no, I don't have to say anything to him. He'll give me what I want. Because he wants to be in my movie. And I did. And I regretted not giving him what he wanted for a long time. For months, right? So I had a job. I had a job that paid me money. Right? But that was a Luciferian pact that I wasn't comfortable with making. Right? Like, oh, you want me to... Right? Right? What do the people around him say, honestly? You know, like that's like it's a good question. It is a good question. You know? What is the psychology of that little girl that he dumped all that baggage on? Let's talk about that for a minute, why don't we? There is this condition in the mind, right? It's called the brain, right? You have this organ, right? It's a physical structure. And it operates an electrical field. The electrical field of the heart is 7 to 12 times denser than the electrical field of the mind, of the brain. It's worth pointing out. But you have this thing, it's called the brain, right? And the brain interprets electrical waveforms, deconstructs them, right? It's been called a stop-down filter, right? That it reduces the totality of existence to a singular, right? Out of quantum probability into, right? Some corrupted certainty. And so, when you're close to someone, by default, it becomes a kind of hive mind. It becomes a kind of community, a collective, right? It's a psychic phenomenon, right? And so, right, what I'm saying is that when Quentin was plaguing my mind with notions of his daughter being a whore, right? He has a real little girl who's a sweet, innocent girl, right? Who has now absorbed all of that electrical phenomenon, right? A thought is a force, and philosophy should be an energy, right? That the condition of creating a thought, Right? The thought itself is always aloof. It's always this quantum uncertainty. Having the thought engenders a membrane of an electrical field, right? It engenders a novel synaptic neuronal firing within the structure of the brain, right? Which the clairvoyant sends out and in to find his target thereby. This is not really up for debate, right? What do they have to say about people who've done MRI scans on Tibetan monks, right? That it's a novel, it's engendering, or musicians, right? That when you find yourself in like an altered sort of state of consciousness, right? It is a novel neuronal sort of cross-firing, right? Multiple hemispheres and lobes, all engendering a synaptic response to the thought itself, right? So my point is that it's a two-way street, right? That when you send it out, right, it also like absorbs within you, right? And then you're also receiving. It's an antenna, it sends out and it receives, right? And so my point is that all of that awful baggage that he put on me, right, which I throw away in an instant because I'm of sound mind. I'm an adult, right? It doesn't embed in my subconscious, in my unconscious, any more than they allow me in their subconscious, in their unconscious, right? That she is a defenseless little girl. And so, right, this campaign has gone on so long. Let's just say that I'm completely full of shit. Let's just say that I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. And that's, right? I'm insane and he's evil. These are the two positions. What do you think is going to transpire as the years progress and she becomes, right, older? She becomes a young woman, right? You don't think that there's like any part of both of her parents that are going to see me, that are going to see this saga every time they look at her? And you don't think that there's like any sort of, right, subconscious, unconscious, right, psychic, right? They've poisoned the well, that's my point, of their own daughter. Because they understand nothing. It's a joke to them. Right? That now, that all of that, right? That a memory, right? Memories are non-local. There's no such thing as the grandmother gene. Right? That the more, that like, oh, some neuroscientists say, oh, like perhaps there's some validity in it, but really there is none. Right? That there is no, like the physical structure of the brain doesn't hold any of the thoughts. Right? That it's a quantum non-locality, just like consciousness. Therefore, right? We all of us, whomever is involved, have no choice but to accept, right, that all of these thoughts are swimming around all of our heads forever. Right? And maybe it'll never manifest as anything, but perhaps it defines our entire life. That's the point. Right? Oh, so funny. What a game. What a joke. This is what I'm supposed to say in front of court TV. Right? So, I suppose I'll stop. My sewing is coming along. Right? So here's the pattern. Right? And it's going to go on and on and on and on and on. Right? And then I cut the shirt out of this. Right? So again, it's two pentagons inside of each other. The marriage of 5 and 6. It's really quite graceful. Like, despite it being my first one, right? It'd be, I suppose maybe it makes a better coat than a shirt. But that's what I'm sewing right now. Right? I suppose I didn't give him what he wanted so that he could be tested, and he failed. He failed, 100%. This has never been about a movie. If this was about a movie, he would have paid me nothing. Said, you blew it. Here's money for the scene. Here's money to stop being a pain in my ass. And that would have been enough. But in his mind, he said, oh no, I have to double down. Or perhaps he told everyone that I was some sort of threat to him. All lies, all cunning, all bullshit. Right? Like, yeah, I put the fear of God in everyone in that office. Right? But by the third time that I went in there, they were all basically in tears, upset over how nice I am. Right? So this is their legacy. They don't have any legacy outside of me. right? That they've all, like aemanuel, Mike Simpson, Stacey Sher, all these people, they've insulated Quentin's campaign against me to such an attenuated degree that they've tarnished all of their immortal souls as well. And when they meet their maker, just like me, this is all they're going to think about. By default. Right? Their kids, no. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. They want for nothing. Right? They'd have to be real pieces of shit to not be decent parents. They don't need money. Right? But now, right, I have to talk about it. So that's what we're doing here. Like, comment, subscribe, share. You can be devoted to love and goodness, or you can be a goblin and suck the life out of everyone around you. Let me know what you think.